Ready?
World number one up against a future potential world number one.
15 left.
21st match out here on the Rod Laver court for Aryna Sabalenka. She has lost just twice. Serena Williams in 3 sets and Ash Barty also in 3 sets.
Not a better players to lose to.
And I'd be very surprised if Aryna wasn't the one to suggest playing in the daytime here, because the courts are playing so much faster, much livelier, especially when it's this hot.
Yeah, it's the second day in a row that the temperatures has been rising big time, so most of the players starting to string their rackets much tighter.
Team Sabalenka, more of an entourage, verging on a platoon. Go through that list. Anton Toprov on the right of that front row. You've got Jason Stacey in the middle. You'll be thankful that he's not getting his head autographed this week by Aryna before she steps out onto court. They've always got something going on. Andrei Vasilevsky is on the left at the front row. He's been around for a while. There you can see him. At the back there, you got Shane Lianej, the data analysis.
And I think there's such a huge part of Aryna's success, just making her life on the tour so much more enjoyable. It is now twice in a row I flew with them after winning the tournament back to Dubai, and you know, they were just so...
I'd also be pretty chilled out if I'd won the tournament as well, to be honest.
You know, helping her carry the trophy, it's a nice problem to have. They're just incredible team to be around.
Thomas Burdick coming out of Wimbledon after being runner-up at Wimbledon one year, forgot his runners-up trophy. He might have just had a couple of extra drinks.
It does happen sometimes. We forget the trophies in the hotel rooms.
I'll trust you on that one, Daniela.
It did happen to me here.
Testing that forehand early on.
Fun fact, Aryna Sabalenka had the most accreditations out of any player at last year's Wimbledon. The total was 9.
She did well to get 9. Who she blagged the others off?
How do you get away with 9 accreditations?
Oh, that is an outrageous off backhand early on here from the 17-year-old.
40 left.
Kind of counterintuitive to run that way to hit your backhand, but not when that's the outcome.
Again, Andreeva.
Solid through the middle, great start from both. Here comes the challenge of the first service game with the sun in their eyes.
Yeah, and we see an obvious tactic early on from Andreeva. Most of the time hard in the middle, and then when it's possible, attacking the forehand side. Smart.
Let the serve.
Just keep an eye on the paces for Sabalenka. There was almost a 30k drop-off at times between this end and the other end where she wasn't looking into the sun. That wasn't bad. That was about 9k slow, but it was also out wide.
But also sometimes you almost want to hit a slower serve just so that you have more time for the eyes to adjust by the time you hit your first shot after the serve. Aryna was almost turning to get ready to get receive a ball from the ball kit.
30.
She thought that ball was wide. Just about here, she's already walking.
Nukes the 9th shot of the rally. Laura, I didn't see Aryna talk about how slow the conditions were last year particularly, but obviously it's been a bit of a theme, particularly in her last press conference. She's talked about actually wanting to serve slow because she doesn't feel she's getting the benefit trying to serve hard.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. I think just the slight difference in the balls has made a big impact this year. Just the fact that we're hearing so many players who are playing that night match say, oh, I'm not getting anything. Pegula the other day said that it felt like a clay court.
Again, Sabalenka.
Sabalenka doing what Sabalenka does. Swashbuckling tennis from the world #1, 2-1.
But it's unusual, isn't it, to see Sabalenka against Towson serve at 72% first serves in, but only win 60% of those points. That's not a stat that should be used to.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and it was interesting. It was actually interesting that she said it, she actually specifically served slower against Towson, but then when you looked at the ends that she was serving from, you were like, well, was it or wasn't it? And she just, as a player, trying to hide the fact that she was struggling a little bit because of the sun and didn't want to give anything away. I mean, I know you guys are very good at that, the deception.
Well,
that's why you never want to do any interviews or anything or tell us anything. Nothing's changed, it's all the same.
Well, I don't know how much it's got to do with that. It's more the fact that, you know, so many times we think the sun is bothering us on the serve, but it's more on that shot afterwards that you kind of like playing guessing games, and you warm up your eyes maybe by the second or third shot.
Andreeva's connections with this tournament go back a fair while. It was her mum who watched Margaret lift the title here back in 2005 that really got involved in the game, and Andreeva likes to, or used to like, I don't know how she still does, the final between Fed and Nadal here back in 2017.
Would you please take your seats, ladies and gentlemen? Our players are ready, thank you. Especially at the back of the court, please. Thank you very much. Let's go serve.
+1 shot off her second serve for Andreeva is going to be crucial to her survival today.
Absolutely. Not only having to deal with the sun now, but also the pure power from Sabalenka returns. I really want to see Andreeva serving quite a bit, even with the first serves. Body forehand from Sabalenka. She's not going to do much damage anywhere else but there. Even though she lost that point there, Andreeva, I like that variety in her game, throwing in early on, slice back, and even the forehand had a little bit more shape. That's why the future is very bright for this young player, because she's got everything in her game.
Of some return from Sabalenka, because that was an excellent second serve. Couldn't have hit it any better. Depth into the left hip.
Yeah, she's not in a rush to open up the court with her first couple of shots, Sabalenka, in the rally. Just not to give anything to Andreeva to play with.
As you saw from that stat, looking to pick up 18 consecutive hardcourt wins at the majors from Melbourne last year through New York. And it was always going to be a problematic match for Martinez to kind of get the right balance for her player at this stage of her career. And that's what's developed early on.
Yeah, very smart tactically from Sabalenka early on. Just when you think about it, everything going really around the middle of the court. That's where, when you're that young, you see that ball and you want to do so much with it, but you can't actually, because you can't really open up the angles too much, so you just have to be patient.
Please, once again, ladies and gentlemen, find your seats quickly. Players are ready. Thank you. At the back of the court, please do take your seats. Thank you.
Laura, sorry, I know you're just about to come in. I just want to ask, for the viewers that join a Grand Slam for the first time or just during the course, what is the most significant difference between playing Sabalenka on a hard court to a clay court where Andreeva got the win last year?
Oh, she's just pulled that one. I think the difference is the +1 shot for Sabalenka, because his first serve is kind of lethal on every surface, but just the fact that as it's jumping up on a lively hard court here, she can move in straight away afterwards, and then it's point done, because she just generates so much pace with the first ball.
That is ridiculous.
14.
That is as good as it gets from Sabalenka. And I was just going to say that on clay courts, you know, you have to use the short angles a little bit more, the drop shots. That's maybe not Sabalenka's biggest strength, but hey, what do I know? Off you go. What a shot.
These days, though, it's so dependent on what type of clay court it is, because, you know, she's always going to do well in Madrid, maybe less so in Rome, where it's much heavier. And the same with the hard courts. It changes so much now. This one in the day compared to night session, I mean, it's like a totally different surface.
Game, Sabalenka.
Well, the location may be different, but the scoreline is starting to develop as it did up in Brisbane early in the year in favour of Sabalenka, 4-1.
I mean, in a way, it's everything is evening up so much. The grass is not as fast as it used to be. The hard courts are sometimes more like clay. It's almost sometimes like a sliding hard court. So I think everyone can play well on everything these days, really.
I'm on a crusade to get the grass courts faster, don't you worry,
Please,
Danny.
Laura. Yeah, we need that, especially for our Legends Week.
How's that going?
Not well.
We are starting to talk about some practice possibilities, and we are only in January, so I think we are getting there, Laura. 7th time lucky.
This is tennis. We move at a glacial speed. I'll see you in 2030.
Oh.
This tournament doesn't move at a glacial speed. It is innovations galore, year on year. Grew up in Siberia, in a city of 1 million people, did Mirra. Then ended up heading over to Sochi on the Black Sea, a little warmer, of course, a breeding ground for where Maria Sharapova played. Then went down to the south of France to René Lisnard's academy for a while. Trained there with her sister Erica. I believe she's training out of the Joe Wilfred Songa Academy at the moment.
It
was a good spot by IMG, who picked her up at the age of 12. And just 5 years later, already inside the world's top 15.
Yeah, I think René Lisnard has done such a good job developing that variety in her game. So once Conchita got on board, she had a lot to work with. And I think being in south of France, that's where she kind of developed that beautiful touch and feeling she's got on the ball. Again, the tactic to go strong in the middle of the court for Sabalenka has been paying off so far in this match.
She's not overplaying, but it feels like Mirra could afford to add a bit more shape to her forehand side. She's just looking a bit rushed from time to time on that shot. And when she's going cross court with her forehand to Aryna's forehand, it needs to really jump off the court. Otherwise, she's not going to throw in the errors.
Laura, this is already a much better performance from Sabalenka. I don't want to take anything away from Torsten, but this is some clean ball striking.
Oh, for sure, the cleanest that I've seen throughout the tournament, even in the second round against Buzas Monero, first round against Stevens. You know, she's come through those matches in straight sets, but it wasn't easy for her.
we're getting to see why Sabalenka is unstoppable in Melbourne.
Leads 5 games to 1.
And I'm sure it has a lot to do with the way Swiatek played yesterday. I'm sure Sabalenka would have been watching a little bit of it. And I mean, there was pure perfection from Iga. So it's sometimes about those little messages you send out back to the locker room to your biggest rivals. Say, hey, you're starting to play your best tennis. Well, look, I can step it up big time. And I mean, so far it's been an exhibition kind of style from Sabalenka in this match. Incredible.
Awesome length and pace, and then it created so much space in the forecourt. That was a lovely little sort of look at just where the balls were bouncing from. Sabalenka pushing Andreeva back.
I can't get over the fact he's wearing a jumper.
Good point. Both of them.
Pretty relaxed.
Are they in the shade? Yeah, they're. Yeah, they are in the shade. Well, a little bit of an excuse.
all.
Couple of times we've had Roger Federer doing the stats here. That supposedly is her 5th unforced error. It doesn't feel as though she's hit 5. Felt like about her 2nd. There was 1 average forehand. How does she gain an advantage here, Laura, off the return? Because she hasn't been doing so.
Well, I think she can drop back, to be honest. I think the way that the ball's jumping right now, it's very difficult to try and take that one on. And then you're almost leaving yourself with more room to cover on that next shot.
Oh, that's magnificent. I was just about to praise Sabalenka's anticipation or knowledge about Andreeva's game when she covered the forehand down the line.
30-all.
But the 17-year-old with a touch of class on the two-hander.
Oh, absolutely. Look how well she used the left hand there. Still kept very well on balance, even though pushed in the corner. Well done.
Ah. 40-30.
Sabalenka has put her foot down there on that first serve. Quickest of this opening set, and very quickly to the point where she can capture it. That was a lead. It's a bit of a reset for Andreeva. She's going to have a rethink because Sabalenka has rolled through the opener, 6-1. That was pretty special.
That was as special as a Swiatek performance yesterday, really. So, you know, these girls are stepping it up big time, and I don't think anyone would have expected outcome of the first set being as one-sided as it has been. All the credit to Andreeva, but it was on Sabalenka racket, looking at the numbers.
Yeah, posting great numbers behind the second serve, but again, Laura, you highlighted just the numbers behind the first serve against Thorsen. She's going to be super happy with that. That's the kind of uplift she needs at this stage of the tournament against better players.
Yeah, ridiculous change for her. 86% off the first serve points. But I feel like Andreeva's got to do something different with the return, because even when she's getting a good strike on it, you know, it's just not jumping through the court enough, or she's going for a placement where in your head you might think, okay, I'm gonna have a good chance here, and then Sabalenka hits a shot like that. So let's see, because Mirra's got a great tennis IQ.
And perhaps more importantly, what can Conchita Martinez do in the corner over there where coaching is allowed to try and help her charge?
Yeah, I was just going to say, I think this is where Conchita will get busy now, trying to get some extra advice, but seems like nothing particular from that. Vamos. Yeah, definitely the body serves have to come in more in play for Andreeva. I'd like to see her use that much more. Or a second serve like that. That was huge.
30-15.
There is, if you read that, some good news there for Mirra. Didn't start well, ended much better.
40-15.
And a start that looks promising here for the 17-year-old.
Again, Andreeva.
Little traction.
Second set.
Trying to hang on at the start of this second set, and that will improve her mood. Daniela or Laura, you can answer. So when she turns 18, she gets unlimited tournaments, right? She's been a little limit. Is it 16 at the moment? At 17 years old?
I want to say 14 or 16, but yeah, there's still the limit on the number of tournaments.
Yeah, she's quite a specific case because you get bonus tournaments depending on your ranking. So you have certain events that don't count for her. So it's not quite as straightforward as just following the rules, because she's got an additional 2 mandatory events.
But as soon as she turns 18 in April, it's unlimited.
Yep. All bets are off.
Oh, yeah.
Love it,
And the beauty of tennis's scoring system is you can just shuffle that opening set to one side and restart. Spectacular return.
Looks to me that she's just taken half a step further out on that ad side as well to cover the backhand return.
That was a serve that Thorsen just didn't catch up with at all. The kicker out wide on the ad side at both ends.
$15-30.
Also, I think great coaching from Conchita there, that she didn't say much. That means understanding, okay, Sabalenka could have not played any better in the first set, and it's up to Andreeva. Just keep doing what they agreed before the match, and letting her figure it out, what she has to adjust. I mean, it's so hard to take that kick serve of Sabalenka on the rise. She was trying to do the right thing, but it is extremely difficult to find the right timing.
And the success really relates to getting yourself in the right place on the return. She was actually a little too deep there, and it got up above her shoulders.
You don't want to be in the in-between lines. You either
40,
step in and take
30.
it really on the rise, or then go back and just let it bounce.
How good has she been with the touch today?
I'm loving the variety from Sabalenka. It's something what we would expect more from Andreeva, but slice backhand, drop shots, great passing shots as well when she brings Andreeva to the net. She's got it all on her racket today. There's a big fan of Sabalenka.
Holds. Love 15.
Crisis time to some degree for Andreeva after that opening set, and does allow you to kind of narrow your focus to just one point at a time, particularly on your own service games. If there's any uplift that you can generate on the returns, fair enough, but this is the most important part for her right now. Oh my goodness, that came late.
Really late.
It is actually looked at, isn't it? In a room by somebody. It's not automatic. It's not just done by machines.
Oh, it's not?
No.
Oh, yeah.
15,
understandable.
30.
It almost like it was a reaction to her.
Yep,
Oh, yeah.
that is a footfall.
Yep.
Correctly called.
Unlucky for the time for Andreeva.
Hold. 15-40.
Well, you can criticize the double fault, but to be honest, the data that's been generated in the opening set was that Sabalenka was just crushing the second. So you've only got two options here. You go faster and try and keep her neutral, or serve even slower and back up 2 meters and hope you can pick it up. Neither feel great options at the moment from Andreeva. She's getting outclassed, out hit, out thought, and she's going to be careful. She'll be out of here soon. It's 2-1 Sabalenka.
Sabalenka's actually inquiring about the foot fault.
This is wild.
Does she want to give the point back?
Or a little replay?
Yeah, I think a lot of the players don't even realise that it's called by someone in a room.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's like the same with ELC.
You can't put an invoice in for the day. I'm sorry. That's unprofessional. That's it. You're working for free. How many more hours have you got?
Oh, I've got a long day, Mark.
Oh, that's unfortunate that you picked today of all days to not be able to put an invoice in.
Well, at least I admitted it, right?
Yeah.
That counts for something.
Yeah.
They don't realise that ELC gets reset by someone in a room after every point as well.
Welcome back. Let's take a look at the contact point here for Sabalenka. Well out in front. Look at the rotation through that. That is tennis art for you right there. Yeah, I mean, to be honest, if you did a sort of a quiz with the players about sort of top 10 rules, I'm pretty sure there wouldn't be a lot of 10 out of 10s.
Left.
This is a 10 out of 10 performance from Sabalenka.
Just I'd like to see Andreeva a little bit more positive with her energy in between the points. I feel like she's been kind of flat after that first set, and if she wants to change something in this match, it has to start with the attitude.
Steady love. Thirteen, 15.
And Conchita recognizes she's just got to try and put the guardrails up for the mentality here for Andreeva, who is wandering off course.
Yeah, if she's not careful, this might slide away from her very, very quickly. There. It's the biggest trend of Sabalenka, Swiatek, Coco. They just never check out for 1 second mentally. Sabalenka was tested big time against Dawson. She had some tough moments there, but mentally she was always there for every single point.
Chance that Andreeva, you feel, needs to take.
Yeah, she's not really stepping in or
40,
letting the ball
30.
bounce, going a little bit backwards.
It has to be one or the other, doesn't it? It's just no man's land at the moment.
Been super solid in the majors since 2020, has Sabalenka. 10 quarterfinals, most of any of the women's singles players. And looking to try and make another one today.
Yes.
And I'm not usually one to advocate moving back, but I was all about Jessica Buses-Minero's return position a few days ago. She was a meter and a half back, and she was just making a lot of balls. And yes, you have to get that forward movement back up to the baseline afterwards, but at least you're in the rally.
Advantage,
Plus,
Sabalenka.
she has the legs to recover. It's not like she's slow. So
Mirra's
no
an
reason.
unbelievable athlete.
Yep.
I just think if you try and take that on inside the baseline, it's got to be a perfect return, doesn't it?
Yes.
Tugs the scoreline back to juice. Important moments here for Andreeva.
Advantage, Sabalenka.
There was a little bit of hit and hope about that return.
Yeah, and again, right before she returned, she moved in like half meter, which is not a smart thing to do.
Game, Sabalenka.
Okay, quick question. You got it's a yes or no as we take a look at the entourage getting up. They knew that was an important particular hole to serve. Georgios Frangoulis, the CEO of Oakbury, her boyfriend, back left over the back of Andrea Vasilevsky. Defense, more important than attack. What would you prefer to have? Great defense or great attack?
Great attack.
Where am I on the scale? Is it like a Sabalenka level of attack?
No, just in general. In general, what do you think? What do you think wins more matches ultimately?
Attack. It's a bit of a clinic right now, but I think even Mirra would agree with you. In her second round, it was 6-all in the third. She was down in the breaker, and then she decided to go for it. She was playing a bit passive beforehand, and when I saw her after, she was like, oh, I just knew I had to try and loosen up on a few forehands.
That's what she needs to do here big time now. A little bit harder to do against Sabalenka.
Gioma is that second round match that she got through in almost 2 hours and 20 minutes in that final set breaker. Then went 2-3 with Freck and perhaps just hasn't hit the ball as well as she would have liked coming into a contest that needed her absolute best. Incidentally, I sit in the camp that defense is more important than attack. I feel defense gets you out of your bad days.
Well, obviously you need both. I mean, you can't.
No, of course you do, yeah.
You can expect to be.
The best players do both very well.
Yeah. And also, learning how to defend better gives you more confidence than when you're attacking. Because you feel like you don't need to hit a winner because you have the defense skills as well. So I would say it's 50-50, really.
We want both.
Yes. Yeah, that's a much better forehand there. Last two shots had more rotation.
30-40.
More on it. Let's not forget also the last match Andreeva played. It was a much slower pace. Conditions were slower, so this is a completely different league, what she has to do out here today.
Yes.
Sometimes a shorter serve ends up being a benefit. We never really talk about it like that, but because it was so short, it went on the vertical very quickly.
Yeah, and she got caught in the middle of nowhere, really. Much better serve there, 175 outright. Has to do everything with more intensity, Andreeva, from now on in this match, if she wants to have a chance to come back.
Oh, Sabalenka made the adjustment going back, and that was a quality strike, but the response from Andreeva was spectacular. Keeps herself in the conversation in this second set, 2-3.
Yeah, that was a huge hole there for Andreeva. Sabalenka might be kicking herself a little bit, especially for the second serve back in return. She had it on her racket, just mistimed it a little bit. did adjust here very well, but that's what Andreeva should be doing on her second serve returns. She's just so balanced and strong in the angles. Andreeva and Sabalenka has done such a good job today, not really give her too many opportunities to come up with shots like that.
Look how she's sunk into that shot, got herself down, able to keep the racket head parallel to the ground.
Yeah, she just stays so compact, low with her legs. And she's a pretty tall girl, but she moves extremely well.
Time.
Middle Sunday of the Australian Open. It's not quite party atmosphere yet, but it is a great atmosphere, and it is going to be a hot day. Sabalenka producing the kind of tennis that has carried her to a couple of Australian Open titles already in her career. In fact, she has won 23 consecutive sets now here in Melbourne. Last set that she dropped was to Rybakina in the final in 2023. Six straight points.
Love, 15.
No, it's a forehands like this. Andreeva has to find a way to make it. Sabalenka starting to be a little bit tight. She had the match on her racket really with those three breakpoint opportunities. Love 15, you have to find a way to hit that forehand over the net.
Let's second serve.
Again, just not located in the right place for the second serve to receive it.
Yes, she's just standing in one spot, isn't she? And kind of trying to adjust the bounce with her upper body instead of with the legs. Missing few little steps around. I think Igor Swiatek is the best example how to receive second serves.
First little segment of the match that's slightly suboptimal from Sabalenka, and Andreeva's got to take advantage.
Yep. Missing the footwork today from Andreeva a little bit.
It's very hard to get the footwork going when the body language between the points isn't there. Mm.
Deuce.
Good job from the crowd to kind of get involved. It got a little bit flat the last couple of minutes.
One of the hardest things in tennis is to suddenly realize that your opponent's not playing so well, and actually you don't have to do the things that you thought you needed to do to stay competitive, because obviously in that opening set she did have to play lights out tennis, Andreeva, to try and stay with Sabalenka. That just isn't the case now.
Yeah, and she almost relaxed a little bit too much now, knowing that Andreeva is not playing anywhere near her best tennis, and that's kind of causing the easy mistakes from Sabalenka now.
Missing first serves. That was a prime example. Sorry, Daniel. Yeah. That was a prime example. She's given unforced errors in the last sort of 5 minutes that she hasn't been up and to say, yes, just make her hit another one.
100%.
If she hits the winner, too good.
Yep. I think this is where Sabalenka struggles, and we talked about maybe her clay court record not being at the best, because it feels like when she has too much time, that's when she starts to make too many mistakes. And it has been that forehand side, especially against Sloane Stevens in her first match, where it was super slow from Sloane, and it almost felt like Sabalenka didn't know what to do with so much time on her racket.
There was that shape you were looking for, Laura, off the return. It actually bothered Aryna.
Yeah, it was perfectly placed. She was still in the same position, but there was just a bit more intensity with the footwork. And so when she made contact with the ball, she could actually play it as an aggressive shot, even though it had the shape.
Quick to see the shortness of the reply from Sabalenka. Waltz through the backhand. Can she get herself back up alongside Sabalenka on the scoreboard? Timely first.
Yes.
Looks like that ball toss is starting to move a bit.
Advantage.
She's struggling to find her rhythm now on the first shot after the serve. Again, it's that kind of shot.
Yes.
You just have to make Sabalenka play. Even if it's hard in the middle of the court, half meter from everything, any line, clear the net.
Advantage, Sabalenka.
Valuable third ace. Well, when you're as good as Sabalenka and you somehow scramble through a bit of a fisherman's bucket of a service game and you put yourself up a set and 4-2, you generally sprint through the finishing line. That was Andreeva's opportunity, couldn't quite take it.
And again, a little bit of a touch and fineness here from Sabalenka that we are seeing out here today. We see more of that in Sabalenka game.
Tend to want to try and get the second bounce of a drop shot to stay inside the service line. That was way too deep from Andreeva.
15 left.
But if she can get through a quick service game here and not allow Sabalenka any rhythm to find her ground strokes again, still in with a chance.
I always feel with Sabalenka, the quicker the better. The less time she has to think, the more damage she's going to do.
I mean, it's a great return, but it does open up the court. You've got an awful lot of your baseline to cover and protect. When you hit a second serve out there, she did a good job of forcing Sabalenka just to tidy things up. But there was only one outcome.
Oh. 15-14.
It's too good, too powerful. Excellent from Sabalenka. Got herself through that kind of low patch, and she rose again. And Andreeva cannot meet the challenge. 6-1, 5-2. Another quick question for you. We've only got a minute here. Sabalenka's talking about her mental strength, but how much of that is also contributed to by the technical changes she smoothed out with her serve and her forehand? Gavin McMillan, the biomechanist, doing such a good job in that department. I mean, surely the two come together.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, once you have that attitude of openness and of trying to work on every single part of your game, whether it's mental, physical, or technical, it just helps make every change that much quicker. And it's the strength of the champions. They're always constantly looking for things, how to improve their shots. When we look at Novak, Roger, Rafa game over the years, how much improvement they've done technically, given already the success they had on the court. It's remarkable.
"60 minutes that's been almost flawless, just probably a 10-minute period there that we've just witnessed that it wasn't ideal for Sabalenka. But she has led from gun to tape.
Love it, team.
Sabalenka's played an absolute blinder. Like, by far her best match of the tournament, but you wonder if Andreeva had that belief coming out onto the court anyway. Just thinking back to her press conference, she was like, oh, I don't want to play Aryna again.
Yeah, it was a kind of strange comment. You're right.
And it does look like it. That she just doesn't want to be out there on the court against Aryna. The attitude hasn't really been there. Even when she loses a point, sometimes I would like her to be a little bit upset or just a little bit more emotional, I would say in this case. Because she fought so hard in her previous match, getting through that, being mentally so resilient. So now it's the stage where she can really shine, enjoy and embrace every single moment. And we haven't really seen that attitude today from Andreeva.
(14-15).
Full throttle into the quarterfinals once again here for Sabalenka. Couple of match points.
Game 7 match, Sabalenka 6-1.
The final dagger delivered. Fewest games she's dropped in a match at this year's Australian Open. We were hoping for more, but all we got was a Sabalenka on top form.
Oh, absolutely dominant performance from Sabalenka here. She will be pleased with every second of the way she has played out here today. Only really maybe 5 minutes where she started to feel almost too comfortable out there and a little bit too relaxed, but yeah, what an incredible performance, step up for her, and a lot to learn from this match for Andreeva. The future is bright, and she will be winning big time on this court, just not today, not with that kind of intensity and attitude. We were, I think, expecting a little bit more from her, and I'm sure she would have expected more from herself. She's got that champion's attitude, just didn't come out today as much as we were hoping for.
Yeah, she'll take another picture, will she, on a Polaroid? Her picture is up on the Champions corridor. It's becoming a little bit of a feature. We can talk about Sabalenka, Laura, but just quickly, Andreeva doesn't want to become too one-dimensional in those moments. She's going to have to figure out plan B.
Yeah, and I just don't think that she necessarily had the belief that she could go to a plan B today. It's very tough when you feel like it's coming onto you so quickly, but she could definitely play better than what we saw today. And on Sabalenka's side, it was the best performance we've seen. So the combination of that wasn't ideal, but you've got to give a lot of credit to Aryna for just bringing it in these matches where you think it's going to be close, and then she just steps it up a gear.
21 matches played on this Rod Laver Arena, and she has won 19 of them. Only Grand Slam champions and former world number ones have beaten her out here. Ash Barty and Sloane and Serena Williams. And we're talking about people winning matches against Sabalenka, but right now just trying to take a set off her is proving to be problematic. 24 consecutive sets in Melbourne for Sabalenka. And the slowest part of this match has been Sabalenka getting herself ready for the interview with Casey. It's coming. Defending champion, looking in prime form.
Aryna, congratulations. You are through to the quarterfinals here at the Australian Open in 2025. It was always going to be a tricky match, Mirra Andreeva. You've played her a number of times, and just a couple of weeks ago in Brisbane. But today, you played some really great tennis. How did it feel for you?
Well, yeah, I always tough matches against Mirra. She's so young, but so mature and playing such a great tennis. It's always tough battles against her, and I'm super happy, of course, to get through this difficult match in straight sets. And I mean, once again, guys, thank you so much for the atmosphere.
And it is warm today, but I feel like these warm conditions are really helping the way that you're playing at the moment. Do you like playing in the heat?
Well, I mean, you know, I'm getting older and I'm not sure if it's actually good for me. No, but I mean, yeah, like previous days was such a tough conditions. The ball was so heavy. You had to like really swing hard the ball. And I don't know, I think I was just swinging too hard, and today I came out on the court and I was just like, I mean, trying to put the ball back, and the ball was flying like a rocket, you know, and I don't know, I mean, I'm super happy with the level today. I hope conditions help me, and I hope it's going to be the same till the end of the tournament, and it's going to help me the same way.
Well, I'm sure the Australian sun will be peeking out for your matches. I just wanted to ask you about the Polaroid that you just took, because I've noticed you've started to take some Polaroids of, is that something new that you've started? Have you got a nice collection of your fans across the world?
Yeah, you know, we actually came up with my boyfriend with an idea that throughout the year we're going to collect like Polaroid pictures and we're going to frame it. I hope we'll have a lot of cool moments this year to collect, and we're going to have a cool little piece of art on the wall in the house.
Yeah, well, it's nice and creative. And just lastly, when I was coming in, I just noticed how many super fans you have. There's young girls with tiger headbands. You've obviously got the cool tiger shoelaces. How do you enjoy being a real leader in terms of inspiring, you know, women and girls and men and boys across the world?
Well, you know, it's a tough question, but
there they are. They've got cute little headbands with tiger ears.
I know. Yeah. Oh, so cute. Thank you. Well, you know. I think the whole life I wanted to be an inspiration for the next generation. I wanted to be a good example of a hard worker, of a fighter, and I wanted to inspire, I don't know, maybe not only a next generation, but help people to go through tough moments. And I hope that they look at me, they see my example, they know that how tough I had to battle some of the challenges, and I went through it. And I hope they're going to take it as a good example, and they're going to go through their challenges.
Well, you certainly are an inspiration. Everybody give Aryna Sabalenka one more round of applause.
Yeah, the tiger symbol because of her